Hey, welcome back to another episode of Confessions of the Darkside. I'm LunarXRising.
And I'm Darcy Darkness.
Today we are going to answer the lovely question, the question of sex, the question of death. And if you like both of them, stick around for this episode. Darcy, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you
I'm
doing?
doing well. I'm 10:30, still trying to slightly, well, I would say get up, but I've been up for a while now. But I now have my I've today's episode is going to answer our lovely question from the end of last week's episode is about sex, death, and what is our top 3 movies of our best sex scenes that they died in.
Are we starting off with the rules first?
Yes. Randy and Dewey had a lovely set of rules to follow by. And if you did not follow them,
Mm-hmm. But not everybody knows about. Not everybody knows about
yes,
Dewey's
yes,
though. Dewey's are
that I
because
do.
they're to do with the
Thank
stab
you for
movie.
clarifying
Remember,
that.
not the
Yeah,
actual.
Dewey's are due to the
Oh yeah.
stab movie. Randy's are, well, his was party related, and this was how you survive horror movies. You want to kick us off with the first number one rule that is what we are going to be mainly talking about today?
I've got to say, one of my favorite lines is, oh sorry, a very simple formula, and everyone's a suspect. Where he screams at in the middle of the video shop, which is hilarious. So there are certain rules that one must abide by in order to survive a horror movie. So in Scream 1, it was you can never have sex. If you have sex, you die. 2, you can never drink or do drugs. Haha. I said, I'm totally out now. I said, so for the first 2 alone, how about you? And 3, never say I will be right back because you won't be right back.
Yes. The next
So
3
next 3, Scream 2.
off of Scream
Yep.
2, which was definitely interesting for me because definitely horror movies, when they do the sequel, they always try to think at least bigger and better. So the very first rule, the body count is always bigger, which is true for a lot of movies. They do try to make the sequels have a lot more death in them. Second rule, death scenes are always much more
Mm-hmm.
elaborate with blood and gore, which is true. That kind of ties into the first one. They just try to make everything bigger and better to,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, grasp the viewer's attention. And then the number 3 one is never,
Exactly.
ever, under any circumstances, assume the killer is dead. Yeah, that one has all explanations of itself. You don't need anything else. I mean, there's so many movies that have proven that point throughout the years. Um, yeah, you never want to expect that the killer is
I'm
dead. I
sure.
could give a good number 1 off the top of my head besides the Scream series, and that's going to be I Know What You Did Last Summer. Even though
Yes.
the gentleman that got killed,
Oh, that was. I
quote
did like them,
unquote,
but they were
killed, got ran over, and he technically wasn't a killer
technically
to
get run
begin
over.
with.
No, they left them and fucked off
Exactly.
and didn't fucking phone 911 or anything. They just
Yeah.
left them. So they technically
and
were
and
killers.
then and then our
But that's another
lovely
movie we can
Scream
discuss
3,
later.
which coincidentally, minus the fact that Scream has come out with more than 3 movies, these rules were specifically, yes, these set of rules were basically specifically designed to survive the horror movie trilogy. Darcy, would you like to give
Randy.
us those last 3?
Yes, and also Randy really thought about these. He was obsessed with horror movies like us, so he literally knew everything. And the Scream 3 one, if you've not seen Scream 2,
Yes.
he dies in Scream 2. But there's VHSs that he's randomly recorded for these
He was
types
well
of
thought out.
events, which I think's fucking hilarious. He's so prepared. So even posthumously, he was actually still preparing everybody for shit to fucking go down. It's like he knew. So, 1, the killer is superhuman, so you can basically keep coming back and be much harder to take them down now. That is incredibly true, but there's been some movies where the first movie they've been like that. So 2, anyone can die, even the main character, and when you expect them to have a brush with death at least, well, at once or twice, or a really serious one. And 3, the past will come back to bite you in the ass, and that happens in
Yes.
Scream 3, and
And
most
just to
likely
touch
has
on your very
happens in
second
a
rule,
lot of movies and
yes,
shows.
the main character can die, and this does include you, Sid. I do remember that movie. VHS when he says that, and it cracked me up when he just was so serious when he said it.
Well, I'm going to do that, but here's the critical thing. If you find yourself dealing with an unexpected backstory and a preponderance of exposition, then the sequel rules do not apply. Because you're not dealing with the sequel, you're dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy. That's right, it's a rarity in the horror field, but it does exist. And that is a force to be reckoned with. Because true trilogies are about going back to the beginning and discovering something that wasn't true from the get-go. And again, you find that out in
Out
Scream
of these
3, and now
ones,
we're on to
you
Scream
and I had
4.
discussed, I do want to pick a few random ones throughout these ones just because they do touch on, well, the original three, and they do have some pretty funny points to them as well. But the very first one that,
See, I want to clarify. See the the number 4 of Scream 4 one in
yeah.
brackets is me, by the way, not.
So the very first one that I do want to touch on, and this kind of goes back to literally what you just had explained about the original and stuff like that. Number one is don't fuck with the original.
Yes, but people do. Unfortunately, they do not follow that rule.
Yes. So I'm gonna skip a couple and go to number 4 on this one. This one is one of those ones that do crack you up, but virgins can die now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they always did say that virgins were the ones that never died. Well, Scream 4 said, nah, virgins can die now.
It's any man for themselves or woman.
Exactly. And then skipping a couple more off that one, the very last one cracked me up, but it is true because, back in the day, horror movies did follow kind of a cliche, did kind of follow a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
But this one now, if you want to survive in a modern day horror movie, you pretty much have to be gay.
How come? What if you're a gay
And
serial killer?
I mean,
What?
there could have been, yes, but at the same time, if you think about it, usually back in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, usually the gay ones were the first ones to be killed off.
Really?
Usually, yeah, in a lot of horror movies, they were either gay,
In the closet.
uh, in the closet, and
Or they thought they
or
were. They thought they
yeah, or
were.
they thought they were. And the other one that I don't like to say, but unfortunately it was true, is they were of a different ethnicity,
All right.
a different
Yes.
race.
Yes. Scream doesn't
Yes.
touch on that, and that was the 90s. You
Yes,
expected that.
Yeah, so that's the biggest one. So I mean, that's kind of where it throws in. It didn't matter pretty much at the time if you were gay, if you were of a different race,
Also, a pretty
you were
girl
gonna
gets killed.
die.
Pretty
Well,
girls
I
who
mean,
do stupid shit get killed, but
I was gonna
I'm
say,
glad that happens. I'm glad that happens because I'm really just can't be asked with this stupid, apparently so-called pretty lassie being fucking like screaming. I just want to slap the fuck out of her anyway. And then she gets killed. It's like yes, do you know what I mean?
yeah, I
Thank
definitely
God.
can't disagree there because the pretty girls are always the stupid ones who always do the stupid things that always get them killed, even if they were trying to go about it their best way to avoid it. They always wind themselves in some stupid trap that get them killed.
And they probably do the first two in the first maybe minute of the movie from the first Scream.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got Drew
I'm not saying not all
Barrymore.
pretty girls that do that, but I'm just saying it's just usually the stereotypical
Yeah,
thing that they've done that, they're not a
yeah,
virgin, they've had sex and they're drinking or doing drugs. So they have to die because they've broken so many rules that technically if they don't do it then the killer himself or herself is breaking a rule anyway on himself.
yep. And I mean, yeah, look at Drew Barrymore's character.
That's epic.
I guess in the horror movie, they would have considered her the pretty girl, stuff like that. She ended up dying
Right at the
within
start.
what the first. Yeah, I was gonna say within the first 5 minutes of the movie starting up. So
Still surprises me every time I watch it though. I'm like, holy shit, she was like the biggest thing. Yes, Neve Campbell was in it, but Neve Campbell wasn't huge at that point.
yeah,
Drew Barrymore was.
and then same.
And Courtney
Yeah,
Cox.
I was gonna say Drew Barrymore was, and then Courtney Cox was because of
Friends.
Friends.
Yeah.
All right, going on to Scream 5. Don't know if you had these pulled up or not, but I do at this point in time just to remember these other ones. I can go ahead with them, or if you have them, you can go ahead with them.
I have something, but I don't It's not a. It's the rules to a recall. Do you have that?
Gotcha. No, I don't.
Do you want to do yours first?
Yeah, I literally only have. Let's see.
I didn't know there was rules in the fucking fifth one. That's how much I paid attention.
So yeah, well, this says Scream 2022.
Yeah, that was 5.
Yeah, so yeah, there was 4 rules in it. The very first one is the one that I do want to go off of, which is never trust your love interest.
Yes, Dewey says
Because it
that too.
definitely seems, yes, because it definitely is always, and this is for this is the it does say in parentheses Dewey is the one who quotes them, and these are the rules. It does seem in any horror movie that is a slasher that the person that is most unexpected is going to be the one that you're closest to and the one that you care about the most, and then they turn around and backstab you.
Also, you don't know how much fucking shit that they have baggage, like emotional baggage. You never know what they're fucking carrying about, even though if you've known them all your fucking life and then you start going out with them. Do you know what I mean? Because they could literally hate you for something stupid, like they asked you out or they did something like in like what primary school, secondary school, whatever, and you fuck it and you don't bother your ass with them, but they've still been your friend all that fucking time. They've been in the friend zone. They can literally be carrying that shit for like what their entire life, and then they've just decided, you know what, I'm going to become successful, and then like so a lot of the time, they come back and then they want like their love interest, and then they get the love interest, and then. They've been plotting to fucking kill them all that time. It's like, what the fuck, man? You could have just literally had the love of your life, but no, you had to fucking fuck with her, you had to fucking kill her, or you had to fucking kill her loved ones. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yep.
It's like, seriously, your
Yep.
mum did not love you enough?
And then the other one, I'll touch on the 3 and 4 because there is only 4, but the other one is actually number 2 that actually is kind of critical and vital, and it literally is what you just brought up. The killer always has something to do with the past.
Aye, actually, yeah. It's always something like lingering in the background. They kind of did that with the Scream TV show, not the remake TV show, the remake of the remake, if you will. They did that in the original TV show.
And then, like I said, I'll touch on the 3rd and 4th one. We won't really get into a discussion of them, but they kind of explain themselves in a way.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the first victim always has a circle of friends that the killer is a part of.
Yes.
And number 4 is don't fuck with the daughter of a serial killer.
No, not even someone who you suspect to be the daughter.
Yes. Yep. And then there are a few from Scream 6, and to be honest, the only one that really stuck out of this one was number 2, and it was just because it made the most sense out of it, and that was everything that happened last time, expect the complete opposite.
Exactly, like totally turn the tables. You don't know what's happening because they don't even know what's happening. It's just happening. Simple as that.
And then there was 5 sub rules, and this one actually makes the second sub rule on this one makes the most sense, and this
Overall?
one can literally take us. Well,
or just because of the new ones.
Well, I think it makes sense overall because this one literally can take us to the very first opening scenes of Scream 1, and it says check all dark stairs, good enough.
Dark stairs?
And when you're going down a staircase or something, or you open up a basement door and it's dark stairs or something like that. If you remember the very first movie, when Drew Barrymore opened the door to the basement, she was looking down the stairs.
Yeah, and
so this one literally can take us all the way back to the very original Scream movie. All the other ones are more modern day. That's the only reason why I don't touch on them, because even though the Scream franchise was a great movie, like the first 3.
Amazing. First of its proper time.
The first 3 were amazing. After that, I did watch them. They were all right, in my opinion. I started to not really care for them too much because they did start to get a little, I wouldn't say cheesy, but they started to get a little out of the box of what they originally started to do.
They want to be in them because they want to be in a Scream movie, like, because they think they're going to be like the original trilogy, and they're not. And that's the sad thing about it, that they think. It's like when they do any remake, they think they're going to make it better, and they're not.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And it's just those sub rules for that are, one, like I said, modern day. They touch on modern stuff like delete your delivery apps. Well, back in the day, Screen 1, 2, and 3, we didn't have delivery apps.
We didn't have apps because
You,
there weren't even
yeah,
fucking phones at that point in time.
you had a killer who basically prank called you, stalked you, and harassed you until he lured you into his trap.
Also, letters.
Nowadays,
It was letters as well, remember? With the
yes,
hostage writing
yes.
and stuff. We were
Yep.
old
And
school.
then, yes, we were. And now these newer ones, they're like, well, we can just, hop on the computer and track you from where you're at due to you using the delivery app, sending your food to apartment C at 134 Broadway Street, and well, we're just gonna go there and kill you. I started losing interest because I honestly feel, and
Easy.
this is my opinion, a lot of people may have the same opinion, but I think modern day horror movies are horrible for that because now you have smartphones to where you can get tracked off of and stuff like that, and it just makes it so much cheesier and easier to get killed.
But it also makes people think that they can replicate that in real life, but how are they so wrong a lot of the time just because they've done it in a movie?
Yes. Now,
So are we going to do the
let's
let's talk
hear.
about the requel thing. The rules
Yep.
to a requel. Well, a requel, if you didn't know, is a movie that has an original subject matter from the previous franchise. But it's not a remake, yes. No. Not a remake, but a continuation of the plot of a previous movie. Doesn't have to be the original trilogy, by the way. It just has to be one of the movies in the franchise, yet there are, in my opinion, much more predictable and therefore shite, but worth a watch to see how badly they've made it. Just leave it alone, walk away, put that down and move on next. The last two lines were just me saying that's what I think of the, not requels, just like sequels and shit anyway. So basically it is original subject matter, but it doesn't have to be from the original movies or franchise, and it's a continuation of the plot. So basically the plot was, the last film didn't have Neve Campbell in it. It wasn't about her, but she's the original person that it was about. Because the last film before that, she was in it with Courtney Cox. So this is
Yes.
what's incredibly annoying. She wasn't in this one, so it wasn't about her, but there was an original character in the new one, and that was Gail Weathers. That was the only one. So I think the only. Oh wait, no, yeah, because I didn't even have Dewey's sister in this one. She was in the last one. So the only person connecting everything technically was Gail Weathers. Because
Yes.
again, I
I think
still
it.
don't get how that girl's his daughter unless he had a baby in his teens.
Yeah.
That makes no
Yeah,
sense.
I honestly, I think it would be funny, and this is more or less my opinion, but I think it would be funny if they brought the whole franchise full circle for one last movie to find out that everything that was going on was actually due to Gale Weathers.
I actually thought she was the serial killer because she wasn't a famous anchor and wasn't a famous journalist and stuff. So therefore, she went about herself and like killed everybody. My husband actually turned around and said how funny it would be if she's been fucking doing all the killings all along and pinning it on everybody else, like the Angela Lansbury of Woodsboro.
Your husband and I have a very good memory, or very good mindset. This, absolutely. That would be, I honestly feel like that would be a perfect full circle ending to where I'd probably actually watch it. I have
I
yet to
would.
watch the new one, and
You haven't watched
and
it?
like
I thought you had.
not yet. Oh, I'm not. I'm not. I don't care about spoilers. I'm just like you. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet because, quite honestly, Emma Roberts and Jenna Ortega ruined number 6 for me in the, or 5 or 6. I can't remember which one they were in. I think it was 5 or 6.
I'm not a big fan of that
6.
actress, the Emma Roberts. I'm not a big fan of hers.
The only thing that I thought she did halfway decent in is American Horror Story Covenant. Yeah, so did I, but that was the only thing I think she did halfway decent in. Other than that, yeah, I'm not a big fan of hers. Like I said, I would choose watching Jenna Ortega over Emma Roberts because their acting styles are completely different, and I feel as if Jenna Ortega is a better actress than Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts kind of reminds me of Kristen Stewart, but I do feel as if she's kind of like the Kristen Stewart of actressing. She's like very monotone. She's very non-emotional.
Hey, you just
She's
described
just,
me. She's like, you bastards! You just described me!
Oops. But no, that's how I feel her actressing style is, and like I said, it does remind me of Kristen Stewart, and that was the biggest thing that she got made fun of when they did the sparkly vampire movies.
Twiglet?
Yes, Twiglet. But yeah, it's just I like I said, I definitely choose Jenna Ortega over Emma Roberts any day of the week to be in a actressing or a actor's style movie. But I mean, opinions are opinions.
Exactly. So are you... I don't have any bonuses this week at all. No. It's like I'm going to have to save them. I think we should literally start a tally, like all the things we don't when we use too many or if we don't use enough. I have none this week. You've got a bonus, haven't you? You said
I
you've
do
got
have
one
a
extra,
bonus.
but I only have two to be fair, so it will all work out in the end.
So for number 3 for this one, it's actually kind of a two-piecer just because it is from the same franchise, different movies though.
So are you picking two movies as your number 3, or is it just you've got a part 1 and a part 2? Is this your bonus, or is
Uh,
it because it is two scenes from two different movies of the same franchise? Sorry if I'm confusing people, but I just really need to know. I need to clarify.
two different scenes from the same franchise.
Right, okay. So that will
And
technically count as
so,
one for the future if it's from the same
yes,
franchise as one. That's our
yes,
rules. We'll come up with our own horror rules, don't worry. And we'll post
we
them.
will. So the third one is actually from Jason Goes to Hell and the remake of Friday the 13th. So I know I'm not a big fan of remakes either, but I had to throw it in there because they were almost identical in murder styles. So Jason Goes to Hell, this definitely clarifies and goes with our very first rule from the very first Scream movie is do not have sex. They both touch on this very well. In Jason Goes to Hell, two people are inside a camping tent
As you do.
and Jason ends up killing them by stabbing them with a pole while they are in the
A
tent.
pole. Did you say
Yeah,
a pole?
Pole. Pole.
Right, okay. Okay.
And then in the remake of Friday the 13th, basically the same thing happens, except for Jason ends up turning around and tying the girl in a sleeping bag after catching her and her boyfriend having sex in a tent.
Wait.
And
Not
stringing
comfy.
her up above a campfire and cooking
Nice.
her inside the
So like
the
a
uh
burrito.
the sleeping bag. Yeah, pretty much.
A burrito. A
So
hot
that
burrito.
a hot burrito, yes. And so going with that, they did not follow the rules of do not have sex because both of these well, to be honest, it's pretty much all the Friday the 13th. They all had a recollection of the don't have sex and people die, don't do drugs, people die,
People just
and the
die in
Friday
that
the 13th.
film. Doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean that it touches on it very well, even though those movies came out way before Scream did, at least the originals did, and they pretty much could have been the authors of these rules because the very first Friday the 13th, if nobody has seen it, you're missing out because the originals were the best. Well, they were good. They were great. I wouldn't say they were the best, but they were great. But the originals, if you watch the very first Friday the 13th movie, it was not Jason who actually originally was killing people. It was actually Jason's mother killing the campers or the counselors because counselors were too busy having sex, drinking, and doing drugs. They failed miserably
Having
at the
fun.
rules.
Having
Yes, they were
fun.
having fun
At the wrong time though. At the wrong time. They should
at
have
the
been having
wrong
it.
time. Yes,
So
and they ended up letting
Mrs.
Jason
Voorhees is
die.
actually, yeah, but the mother is doing what only other parents would do in that situation. They would go after the people who were
Absolutely,
to blame. So they get what they fucking came for.
yeah,
They came for
definitely
party. They
what they
came to
deserve.
die.
Absolutely. But I picked number 3 just to have both of those because it was literally the same fashion. It was just two different movies at two different time periods, same franchise.
I'm surprised no one's actually said, I think you owe us a fucking murder since you've already reused that one. No, I mean, it's like, you owe me for a death, mate.
Well, I can definitely throw another one in there since, I doubled it up.
And also, you can have one of mine. Because I only have 2 and I have no bonus.
You do have two, so I'll do a second one and then take over after that one because that'll even us out going with the.
Although, if you've got one of mine, I swear to God, you're going to hear me shout. So beware.
Gotcha. So for my number 2, I had a hard time choosing this one. I chose it for the fact of one, it has the no sex rule in it, and it has another rule in it as well, which doesn't really get talked about in the Scream franchises, but it does in one of the rules, and it is don't be alone.
Well,
So my second one is Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, I was going to pick that as well. But it's not in
So
mine, thankfully.
It is the scene where the couple go off into the woods and they end up having sex in a field in the middle of the woods. If nobody has seen Cabin in the Woods, it basically is about a
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods, but about a company that basically has to sacrifice a certain criteria of people to stop the end of the world or apocalypse, if you will. Basically feeding what did they call them, Titans in that movie? Yeah, the Titans that are buried underneath the earth to keep them from destroying the world. Basically a human sacrifice to save us all. And these two said, screw that, we're going to go get laid. We got all this stuff going on. So they end up getting killed. If I can remember correctly, they end up getting buzzsawed in the middle of the woods.
They get what they came for. Fun
Yep.
and a party.
So again, that follows the specific set of rules of do not have sex and never be alone, and they failed miserably because 2 people went off into the woods and they all died. And even I was reading too, this is actually like trivia questions of the Scream franchise, and it's actually funny. It says the very first 2 victims of a Scream franchise are always a couple. So that cracks me up a little bit, bringing number 3 and number 2 into this, because they were all couples. They were all having sex. They were all alone. They all died. They failed the rules miserably. If this was a report card, I would give them a big fat F on it. And I've done 2. Since you've only had 2, we can now move on to your number 2. I am very interested.
I haven't numbered mine. Oh dear. Fuck it. I'm just going to go by what is there, even though I think this is supposed to be number 1 and I've just not fucking numbered them. I love numbers as well. I'm really good with numbers. So, okay, this is from 1972. Remember I said to you my film is banned? It was banned in the UK until I think the 2000s because it was brushed on being like a snuff film, like Video Nasties.
I have a feeling I know exactly what movie.
They terribly remade it in 2009, because in the 2000s they remade every good movie from the 60s and 70s that were very, very risky. It was actually the first movie that was written and directed by Wes Craven himself, who did Scream, since we've got a nice wee theme here. It was his directorial debut, but it was based around another movie that was made in 1960 called Virgin Spring, and that was a Swedish film. So again, taking ideas from other people, what the fuck is new in Hollywood? So this movie almost killed his career because of the content of this movie. Because the movie was the first type in its genre, and it wasn't actually the movie itself apparently that did cause a lot of the issues with this movie. It was the way the publicity for the movie, because of how it was described. It was described as a classic horror movie apparently, and it was closer to a snuff film, so it's exploitation horror basically. And a low budget, 90 grand, but it made 3 million, so I don't know how much that would be now in our money. Apparently, critics said it was slapstick black comedy. I don't get that when I watch this film, by the way. Do I fuck? No, the movie is called The Last House on the Left. And I love this movie. Now, I haven't really touched on a lot of the movies that I watched that are like this because a lot of people aren't very comfortable about exploitation films. If you've not seen Last House on the Left, the original one, well, it's about two girls, 17-year-old girls, one of their birthdays, and they go into the city to a concert or a gig or whatever, and her parents give her a necklace with a CND symbol, which is the peace symbol that she wears around her neck. And when they don't hear back from them, as you can imagine, it was the 70s, people still didn't think bad things happened, but bad things did happen. Three random businessmen, as they called themselves, show up at this house and they're seeking refuge. Would you say refuge? They were like broke down and stuff. They made a big story because in the 70s you could walk up to a neighbour's house or a fucking random stranger's house and say you broke fucking down and they wouldn't kill you. That's just a horror film waiting to happen right there. Then the idiots decide to start talking about their conquest of the two girls that they tortured and killed and ard. Basically, all three of them did it, and one was a escapee from prison who was convicted of heinous crimes, which I'm not saying, so it'll probably get um, and they all had very shady, very dark, not very nice personalities. Let's put it that way. So the parents find out that their daughter has been killed, so they decide to take revenge. So they lure, is it the mother lures one of the men, and well, she does an act on him, and just as he's about to pop, she bites off his. And I thought that was, although he didn't die from that though, but he dies due to that though, because after that it just spirals, doesn't it? It spirals,
Yes.
and that film is violent as fuck, bloody as fuck, and I just it just screams Bobbit to me. Do you remember that story? The guy's
Yes.
in real life who became a porn star after his wife bit his penis off in a fit of rage.
Yep.
Which is like, oh, so that's what reminds me every time I watch that film, even though that film was out first, obviously. But no, that is the one thing that it always, I think, scared me. I seen that film when I was about maybe 15 or 16. It scared the bejesus out of me, and I don't even have a penis. Do you know what I mean? So it was a very.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things in that movie that are incredibly wrong, and Wes Craven's no did it like that ever since. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, Wes Craven for that movie did have a very colorful mind, to put it the least. But it definitely outshined because it did become a cult classic.
And
Um,
banned, which makes people
and
want to see it more.
yes, yes, and banned because definitely a lot of people are like, well, why was this banned? We got to watch this. We got to know what the reason was, and then you got a lot of people that don't realize the critics that get it banned. Well, guess what? They all had to watch it to understand why it needed to be banned. So that literally gave more of a buff to the ratings,
It's like a
and
taboo.
yes. Yeah, I do remember that movie did almost kill Craven's career, and I'm so happy it didn't, because then we
Oh, I
wouldn't have
know.
classics today like Scream. But yes, that was absolutely ridiculous on the amount of
Blood, gore, horror.
blood, gore,
It
and
could happen in real
heinous.
life.
It
It
could,
could.
and that's why I said heinous acts of violence.
I'm
And
sorry I brought that one up. Someone was going to do it eventually.
yeah,
It might have been me.
yeah, I mean it's hard to touch on. Like you said, there are points to the movie that if we were to talk about nowadays, we probably would get banned.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's bringing up, the Last House on the Left. That's also the same thing of like bringing up the original Spit on My Grave, the
Yeah.
original. That
I was
movie
going.
got banned. I know it.
Yeah, I
I
was.
know it got banned in a lot of countries. The original and even the remake. I think the remake overdid it.
Yeah, but people were they were like, the first one was banned. How are they going to make it as good? Or if not, again that taboo word again is going to come up. That's going to be the drinking word today. And I mean, you know what it's like if a film's been banned and then they do bring out something years later where they're trying to remake it or redo it. They're trying to scare you. They're trying to do something, but they end up fucking it up, and it's just not good.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that the remake did very well is they did almost make it nearly as taboo as the original.
Yeah.
because it still had so many aspects of it that were so gnarly. And you and I are both big horror buffs, and there's just part of the movies that made me just clinch
What
because
part?
of what they did. Even
Your
for going with
aspect.
for going with the remake that made me clinch, it was actually the part where she took the garden shears to the penis and then shoved him down his own throat.
Yeah, you don't want the first part, but it's like the second part. It's like, how do you come back from that? How do you top that? How do you top that?
It's like, yeah, I mean, if you survive that, how do you even live
Explain what
with
happened to
yourself?
yourself.
I mean,
How do you explain
at
that?
that point in time, if that were to ever happen to me and someone garden shears to my dingaling and then shoved it down my throat, I'm sorry. If I were to survive that, due to the fact of how do I live with that?
You've had your own.
I know I was fed my own dick. I had my own dick cut off. How do I live with it? I
You're in
couldn't.
shock, and then
I,
that happens. I don't know what I'd be shocked more about, having it cut off or having it fed. Fed to me. Sorry, I just can't stop laughing thinking about it. Because you had your
and that would probably be on the that would be on my mind because, well, let's face it, I am a man. I just lost my manhood and I was fed my own manhood. There is no way around it. I apologize. I would not even want to be living on this earth. Hell, if I'm going to hell, I wouldn't even want to be sitting in Lucifer's presence like that because I would be embarrassed. So
Yes,
don't think that I do.
we are literally just explaining what it would feel like to have your own penis cut off and then rammed down your own throat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and
We've laughed so hard
if
at this
any of us,
episode. We've laughed so
I
hard at this
know,
episode. Oh
and
god.
if any of our viewers do want us to do an episode one of these times about mental health awareness and stuff like that, we will be happy to throw one in here. Darcy and I both have dealt with many of things in our past, as well as
I'm autistic
I would say
as well, and
recently or nearly recently, to where that we can offer some insights on things that we have dealt with and how we have dealt with them, or just just talk about that we, although we do come off as horror loving violent people, we
Nice.
do care.
You're
So
floofy.
but we will get, if you guys would love us to do an episode about mental health awareness, we will definitely do that. But I do
It's your
believe it
turn.
is my
Yes.
number one.
Mm.
My number one is actually a movie that came out. Give me a second because now I completely forgot the year that it came out because we just sat here and had a whole laughing session about a movie.
Yes. That's
And,
yes.
well,
You make
something
me
we
look.
needed. Okay. So this movie came out in 1995. So
Wait a
5 years
minute.
after I was born.
I need to check. This better
Wah,
not be mine. I swear to God.
wah, wah.
No. Why is it not coming up? Oh, I put in the wrong thing. That's why. Oh, see all this Peter Fear's talk. Seriously, it is. You bastard. You bastard. That is my one. No. It's 1995. You just said 1995, didn't you? You took one of mine.
I did.
Oh, you
Ooh.
bastards.
I wonder
Seriously,
if it is the same because
it is.
95 did have a bunch of movies that did come out.
Is it about
Um,
a spliced hybrid human? It is, isn't it? You bastard, you took my species.
so
How dare you?
uh,
How dare
yes,
you? You
Species
just
is
got
my
took
number
by
one.
one. You dick. I should have did that
Uh,
first. You bastard.
so yeah, Species is my number one, and I'm pretty sure you and I both had the same scene in mind.
I don't know.
Um,
Tell me since I guessed the movie. Since it's mine.
okay, so the
I like
scene that I
Natasha Henstridge.
definitely picked on this one, yes. The scene that I did pick is when she did finally get herself to disguise as a very gorgeous woman, having sex with the doctor,
Oh, that's not
and
my
then
scene.
turning around. Oh,
That's
it's
not.
not. Okay.
No. So sorry, I take back.
Um,
The insults.
but ends up after having sex with him. basically luring him in, intimidating him, teasing him, and then just turns around and after having sex, does what a praying mantis would do to a male and kills him. That is one hell of a sex life for a male praying mantis, is getting killed by the female after you're done having sex. I would not want to live that way.
Especially if
I'm
you've
sorry.
impregnated her, man, she'll bite your head off. So she will.
Yes. So
That's actually not the
that is
scene.
my number one.
And I can't believe it.
But that is funny.
It was going to happen eventually, though, because of her similarities.
Yes.
But you just heard me my
But
rage, though, didn't you?
all right. Well, yours is species.
Because
What is your scene?
what can I say? A young girl seeing a naked woman popping out a cocoon. Oh, by the way, that's what I was going to say to you. See in IMDb where they're describing everything all nudity and stuff, they miss out the bush. You see it when she's on the train. I watched part of it yesterday because I was like, no, you definitely see not just her boobs, you see downstairs as well. She's covered in blood, but it literally looks like she's got like an actual fluffy rug down there. Or an afro. So you know what I mean? So it's like a full. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking, so they're lying. That's not an IMDb. It's like I've seen it. So that's just I wanted to clarify and clear up that you fucking do see it. IMDb's got it wrong. So my scene that I like is technically not sex, but it's a sexual act. The way she does it is when she's in the bathroom and the guy tries to force himself on her. Then she goes to kiss him, and her
Okay.
tongue goes right through his skull. Man, that is some kiss, by the way. He was trying to have sex with her, so she'd basically, you know what? I'm just going to ram my tongue right down your throat, right through your skull. No, I'll just go by the skull. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's one of my favourite
Okay.
scenes
Yep.
ever. That's when she sticks her tongue through his
So
skull.
yes. So let's just appreciate this though, because in all fairness and well, yes, but all fairness and actuality, species, yes, is about a human hybrid mixed with I want to say an alien
But it has other things.
or some yes, alien and some other things mixed in with it. But let's honestly take the fact that she was not really honestly a true villain.
No, she was created. She didn't know what the fuck she was going on. She went from baby to weak
Yes.
baby to toddler to child, and from child to hot Natasha Henstridge. So
Yes,
she didn't know.
she ended up becoming a villain due to the fact that she didn't know exactly what was going on with herself, her body, everything like this, because she was created. And
A weapon.
I
Was it
honestly,
not a weapon? She was
yeah,
created for.
I think she was created to be a weapon, yes. And like I said, let's just take the fact that, if it wasn't for the fact of humankind's stupidity, pretty much every horror movie,
Yes.
let's not say horror movie, every monster, supernatural kind of movie, that's
Yeah.
a better representation of it. The stupid things that we do as humans would not cause a lot of the destruction that are caused by supernatural forces such as monsters, ghosts, stuff like that. Species being, I want to say, pretty much close to the first of its kind of like a monster movie type deal, being a cross hybrid.
Yeah. Also a
Um,
woman, like, a
let's
woman doing the killing rather than it would be like a man
yes,
producing men. Sorry, women, sorry. What the fuck? Maybe it wasn't.
yes.
You know what I mean?
And we're going to take appreciation too that there was another movie that did come out quite a few years later that wasn't part of the franchise, but it might as well have been, because I thought it was really good and that was Splice.
Oh, that was epic. That was so good. So disturbing,
So
but good.
for anybody who hasn't seen Species or hasn't seen Splice,
Watch them.
a little background on Species that we've kind of covered already. It is
Why don't we read it?
created.
I want to read it from the story plot from IMDb.
I mean, yeah, we can do it that way. For if you want to do Species, I will look up Splice.
Well, it looks like there's only been there's 188 reviews. That's hilarious. Some people saying it's a bad movie. Don't listen to all the reviews on IMDb. It's kind of like all the reviews about certain films over the years that have got really shitty reviews and are actually good because they're paid to say they're shite, so you go see something else.
But did you want to read the IMDb for Species?
I can do species, or if you want to do species,
I already got Splice pulled
It's
up.
okay, I've got species up. In 1993, a search for extraterrestrial life, a transmission was received detailing an alien DNA structure of all things, because who the fuck wants to come to Earth? Along with instructions on how to splice it with human DNA. Again, that was very accurate. The result is still a sensual but deadly creature who can change from a beautiful woman to an armor plated killing machine. But I really liked it as the armor plated killing machine. I thought she was pretty hot. She kind of looked like something H.R. Geiger in a blink of an eye.
I agree.
Government agent Xavier Fitch, assembles a team of scientists and mercenaries, because that always goes well, to locate and destroy Syl before she manages to find a mate and breed. And the tags are undressing, interspecies sex with alien women, bound and gag, seduction, and apparently there's a 211 more words that people use, including sexual attraction, seduction, sexiness, erect nipples, human alien hybrid, female human alien hybrid, white panties, one word title, sexploitation film, erotic dream, nightmare toilet, shower, man in shower, woman in shower, driving in a car, out of fuel, skinny dipping, nudity, underwater scene, regenerating body, car chase, fire truck. Actually, I was going to say fire fuck there. I just did not know where my brain went there. Seductive women watching TV, shooting, rat, hotel room, DNA, alien, scientist, alien DNA, human alien, cocoon, erotica, messages from outer space, girl from outer space, blonde woman, blonde, jacuzzi, gas station, upskirt, underwear, abduction, and voyeur that a lot of people have found helpful. What the fuck? The internet is a
That
weird
is.
place. So
Yeah,
what
you
did it?
said Species had. You said Species had 211. Plot details for the keywords of Splice have 270. Let's see.
Let's see if they have the same.
Six.
Let's see if we can match them.
276.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yes. So, doing the description for Splice, Clive Nicoli and Elsa Cast are scientists of the Newstead Pharmaceutics, researching the splice of DNA from different animals to form new genetic beings and find medical benefits to mankind. They have just created the hybrid Ginger and Fred. Now they intend to join together human DNA to alter the genetic structure of their experiment. When the senior management calls off the experiment, they decide to secretly proceed and they generate a life form with human characteristics. They call it Dren. And Elsa is very fond of their creation that grows up fast, showing intelligence. When the company shut down their experiment, they bring Dren to Elsa's abandoned farm. And no, we're not talking about Elsa from Frozen, because this is definitely not a PG movie. And the scientists raise Dren like a daughter. But when it reaches adulthood, the sex drive of Dren is activated, and Clive and Elsa learn that they have a serious problem to resolve. So for any of our listeners that don't exactly know, this is actually one of the plot details of little tags for Splice. It is spontaneous sex change.
Yep.
So if anybody has not seen Splice, the creature does grow up to be a daughter, ends up having sex with the male, which is played by Adrian Brody, which is not my fan favorite actor of the world, but he did a great job in this movie.
But he was raising her like a daughter? That's the creepy.
Yes. That is the creepy part. And then after having sex with Adrian Brody, she ends up having a quick sex change to become a male. And then she ends up, I think, coming close to having sex with, I think, Elsa, which is played by Sarah Polley. And then going through some of these tags, we have scientist, spontaneous sex change, experiment, farm, man-made monster, and let's pop these up. Biotech, sci-fi, dark comedy, interspecies sex, armoral protagonist, DNA, genetics, abandoned farm, creature, erotica. Hey, there's erotica.
Yep.
Xenophilia, which I'm assuming is sex with aliens.
Yep, sounds groovy.
Yes. Blurred boundaries, scientific creativity, genetic and specimen, pregnant from rape.
Wow. How is that? That makes no
Yeah, I think he did end up having sex with her, if I can remember correctly. Chimera, cloning, pansexuality, spontaneous sex, incest overtones.
Yes.
Wow.
Incest overtones?
Um,
No, it's incest.
well,
But hey, oh god.
dysfunctional relationship, you can absolutely use that so very well for that movie. Abuse of power, mentally ill woman, arrogance, abusive mother, bad childhood, humanoid creature, antagonist attitude. I feel like I'm reading a description for porno because this one says woman on top sex.
That doesn't always happen, and that doesn't always. Oh, I mean, I'm trying to think. It's the majority of women. Yeah, yeah, but you
Here's
do see
another
guys
one.
too. Do you see
Yeah, I
cowgirl? Are you
mean,
kidding
that's
me?
true. Yes, cowgirl sex position. Yes, I mean, this is. I'm,
What's
I'm
that
starting
of
to feel
relevance?
like I'm
It was the relevance for that
sex with
movie.
alien.
Well,
Sex horror, female topless nudity. At this point in time, I'm honestly starting to wonder if I am literally. It does have sex with a monster, playing God.
wow.
Well,
Oh,
I
well,
don't know why
technically they
this
are
one's on here. This
playing
is
God.
yeah. This is a very stupid tag to put in here. Necklace
Pooh.
yanked off.
I thought you were going to say poo. It was like, yay! It's like someone was going to say that.
Seduction.
We've got that one, and that's two the same.
Caught in the act. Really.
I don't understand how that can be like a one-word kind of description. And he's like, we don't want a full fucking sentence.
Well,
One word.
well, the thing,
Pee-pee.
I guess the thing with caught in the act, I'll take caught in the act as voyeur also.
Mhm.
So that'd be another one that
That's
matches with.
three. Did they have any
Yeah,
upskirt? No. Because when it said
I don't
upskirt, I
think
was like, what the
so.
fuck's upskirt got to do with that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't see it there.
We got sex change. We got rear nudity. Killing a cat. Woo! Throw a
Why?
cat in there. Why don't
I
you?
know what
Why'd
the
you?
hell.
Yeah. So sex in a barn. Sex on the floor. Caught having sex. What the?
It's
I'm reading a description for porno at this point in time. If anybody doesn't know, Splice is now a new porno for us. It's an absolutely horrible
it's horror.
horror porno.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
pretty much. So, but yeah, going through here, I don't see anything else. I got orgasm. I mean, great.
But it'll be a fake one because it was on. It was being filmed and not in that way. So pretty much like
Yes.
a
They
P movie,
also so
basically.
yeah. So here's some other ones too that they have in here. They have psychotronic film, grindhouse film,
Grindhouse, really?
and another one that ties in with species, upward camera shot, which reading the description of it, it's basically saying that there is a shot in there where the camera pans to an upward position, accidentally catching the upskirt of a female. So
Yeah, it was
yeah.
four.
So
Four.
there's four total keywords that mix with the total for the stuff is 290 complete tags and keywords for
And a lot of them
Splice.
make no fucking sense. To see it.
And yeah, a lot of them make no sense that don't need to be in there, yeah.
Someone needs to go in and check those tags. And some of them
But
make no
yes,
sense.
so if nobody has seen Splice, if nobody has seen Species, quite honestly, do your guys self a favor because Species, and I think there was what,
Two.
3 or 4
No,
Species
there's
movies?
three movies I think with the same actress, but there's another one with another actress. No, wait a minute. I don't think she's in that actually. Give me a second. No,
I don't even think she's in the third one.
she's not in the third one. It's only the first
So it's
two,
just the first two.
and the first two are
Well,
good.
she isn't. She is in the third one. Natasha Henstring. She's Eve in the third one.
Alright, so she's not even a big character then, 'cause I didn't even scroll all the way down. I just never seen her in the first four. Since, the first two movies, technically she's at the very top. But then
Yeah. Well, she must be.
there's another one called Awakening, and it's not her. And it's,
Yeah, it came out in 2007.
yeah.
Yeah. Who do they have playing?
She was in Desperate Housewives, and she played a Russian person, and she had a terrible Russian accent. Just a random blonde that I haven't seen in anything ever since. She probably gets killed. She'd be the one that gets killed in a horror movie because no one knows who the fuck she is. Sorry to that actress, but you're not in very many things over years, so can't really make a judgment on your acting.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so at least watch the first 3 Species movies. Don't really watch the fourth one if you really want to dive yourself into that, Mary. But the first 2, quite honestly, were the best. 3 was good-ish, and 4, quite honestly, it has a actress who was very little to at the time.
Hmm.
I don't know how big she's gotten now, but it's not worth it. But that's just our opinions.
Just
Take
because
it lightly, take it heavy, however you want to.
there's been some snidey the films that look snidey. We spoke about this not on our channel, but actually on Discord. That there's some films that don't have a very good budget. They have a good story, but some people don't give them a fucking chance because they're not a blockbuster and because they're not like a famous director, a famous writer, or anything like that. And then they fucking have a better story than some of the films that were actually out at the same time, and they were better.
Yes.
Always give something like that a
And
chance, but a lot of the time it is a bit shit. But hey, so are some Hollywood blockbusters.
yeah. Yeah, and then Splice, like I said, my personal opinion, I'm not a big Adrian Brody fan. There are some movies that he does shine very well in,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of movies that he's done that he has had probably the worst acting in it. Splice is one of those ones to where I can actually lean he shined in, and and it is worth a watch. It does have some comedic aspects to it, not a lot, but it does have, again, a species following. Scientists created a genetically engineered humanoid out of different species. So, I mean, it follows the same principle, but I honestly, Species back in 95 was a lot lighter than what Splice was. Splice was a little more darker, in my opinion, but they both had a lot of the same principles. They had a lot of the same aspects in a movie, I do believe. And I guess it would probably be time for my bonus, huh? Is your mic up?
Yes, my mic is up. Thank you. It's like you're right here. It's like, tell me. Sorry, it's because I was
So,
sneezing. I don't think you wanted me to sneeze.
no, you're fine.
Sorry, just being a dick. I'm reflecting myself.
I mean,
Myself, not you. I'm just talking about me.
so we discussed a little bit about my bonus. It's not the greatest horror movie ever made at all. It's really not.
Someone else might think so, though.
Yeah, somebody else might think so, but I can guarantee the majority of people who listen to this is probably going to be like, that movie was shit.
It'll probably
And I
be,
can agree.
it'll be me saying that's my favorite.
I hope not, because I might just get off this podcast now.
Oh my goodness.
So it is Hatchet 2.
No, it definitely is not, and I know what you're talking about.
So the scene of Hatchet 2 that I am talking about, again, it goes topic that we had today about sex. Couple having sex, they end up getting decapitated by the Hatchet murderer.
Man.
Yes, man-ish thing. Whatever he was. Again, the movie was complete shit. It was there are low budget movies, and then there's Hatchet. Which,
that.
The first Hatchet, I honestly have seen both of them. First Hatchet was, I think, in my opinion, a lot better than the second one, which is normally how it goes.
Obviously not that
but
good.
Still not good. Yeah, but still not that good. That's why it got put in as a bonus and not part of the top 3. For the simple fact is, it was more memorable as a comedic horror experience. There's not too many movies that's exactly what it was. It was an experience. It was definitely not one of those movies that you could sit there and say was worth watching over again, but it was an experience to watch it the first time and completely ignore it ever again. Never pick it up, throw it in the trash, or break your TV after watching it. However you guys want it, completely up to you, but that is my opinion on it. If you like the movie, kudos to you. I'm sorry, it was trash. I'll never forget actually buying the first Hatchet movie on DVD.
Oh, you bought?
Watched it. I bought it, yes, because I thought the cover looked interesting. I thought it was going to be a good movie.
Oh, you were missold, man. Missold.
Oh, I was.
That's like a Wish
I took
thing.
it home. I popped it in the DVD player. I sat down with my pizza, my Monster, actually it was Mountain Dew Code Red, and I got to watching this tragic train wreck of a movie. As soon as I was done, I closed my pizza box up. I put my Mountain Dew in the fridge. I popped the DVD back in the case, and I took it down to a and stuff that were used.
We have them here. It's called CX. I think that's like the only one we've got here. I kept calling it Sex, but it's not. It's called CX apparently. So,
But I immediately spent $20 on this movie, and I got $5.
$20. Holy
At that
shit! You
point,
were robbed.
yeah. At that point in time, I did not give a flying fornification on how much how much money that I got back out of this DVD. I just wanted it out of my house, out of my DVD player, out of my car. It needed to be out of my life. Again, my opinion. If anybody feels anything else about that movie, fight me. I don't care.
You're going to get a random stranger biting you one of these days for saying that. Do not.
That is okay. I will make sure I have a baseball bat in hand.
And a tetanus shot.
Yes, and a tetanus shot. That is my opinion on that movie. It just that scene, like you had said, it was an experience, and it was.
I'm going to use that every time I have to describe something. It was an experience.
At this point in time, I have nothing else because if I keep talking about Hatchet and how much I hated that movie and how much I was disgusted about that movie, we're going to be on a tangent. 3 hours, 4 hours. We're already about an hour, 15 minutes into this podcast.
That's fine because we've got a lot of editing. I just have to cut out a lot of stuff that should. So don't worry, it will be fine. Last week's one was the one for the other day was huge. I still only managed to cut like 30 minutes off that bad boy. Seriously, it was like the penis and the cheers thing down the throat again. I was like, seriously.
Look up best sex death scenes on Google, and quite honestly, it comes up with 10, the top 7. It doesn't give you a list of how many death sex scenes there are in movies. I think she had eventually looked it up, and Darcy ended up finding that there was 83 total, which to me, out of all the years,
I don't think there is. I think there's more, but they're just putting 83.
Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up to know how many movies there are out there because not everything gives the proper, description. I'm sure her and I could do our research and write down a crap ton of movies, see which one adds up, and then after we're done, count how many are just there singly, and we're probably going to come with a number that's either 83 higher or 83 less, depending on however IMDb decided to try to categorize stuff. As you can tell, most of our movies that we did choose were mainly horror specific.
Mm-hmm. With a dash of comedy, but the wrong
with
kind
a dash
of
of comedy.
Who the hell? What critic thought Last House on the Left was a slapstick comedy should be fucking slapped and flogged? Because that film is not like that at all.
Slapped and flogged. So basically, you're saying they just need to go with their own critique and say that it was slapstick.
Yes. I didn't even realize that, by the way. Oh, I'm good. Even when I don't know it.
Yeah, you're probably like, holy shit, he knows what flogging is. Yes, I do.
No, I don't care. Everybody does. If you don't, then you obviously haven't lived.
So that's again, this is a horror podcast. We do have some things thrown in there that are not horror related, but mainly this is a podcast for the dark and uncanny. This is what we do. This is what we love. And
it's usually dark, spooky, crazy. Because you'll be hearing about supernatural soon. So other TV shows, obviously, after we finish Supernatural.
Supernatural will be our Supernatural breakdown will actually be coming up in the next few days, I do believe. If you are almost finished, I think you said you are.
I was rewatching the last episode of season 1 because it's the finale, and I just want to get all my questions that I need. If you like Supernatural, that will be a long one. That will be a long one.
Supernatural will end up being a long one. I could probably sit here and say that we will probably clock it just now, talking to you guys, our listeners. That probably will be closer, I would probably say, to 3 hour podcast. If not the little shaving that she probably can do out of this, I have a feeling it's going to be anywhere between two and
I
a
have
half
to go
hours to
back
three
in my
hours
date
guaranteed.
though.
Yes, because her and I both do love Supernatural. So we're going to talk about it. She has some very good. I've seen it all the way through. She has seen all the way up to season 12, right?
13.
13.
No, almost. Yeah, almost. I was a couple of episodes into season 13. But the reason is because if I don't finish it, it means it hasn't finished for me, which means it's still going. And yes, I know it's not going, and it's finished. But in my head, it hasn't. Okay, so we came up with an idea, didn't we, that we were going to watch and then do the episodes, and then we decided to do a season instead because there's 15 seasons and almost 400 episodes. So again, content great, but it would literally be far too long. So if you want an in-depth one, maybe we can do that. But when we get to, is it 2 episodes? Is it like a double finale? Is it not season 15? Is it? Does it be a
I
part one, part
do,
two?
I do believe it is.
So
Give
we're
me
going to
two
actually
seconds.
we're going to watch the last 2 episodes, didn't we? We did say that we watched the last two
Yep.
episodes as a watch party, and
Yeah.
that
So
will be my reaction basically to all the emotions of watching it for longer than some people's marriages. 15 years, not mine, but yeah, 15 years of watching, and then we are going to see my reaction, which is weird because I wear a mask most of the time on my streams and stuff, so I will have eyes out or mouth out. That sounds wrong, but it'll be one or the other, not both.
Yeah, so it doesn't say on Netflix it's a 2-part series, but we will. It's 20
I
episodes,
assumed it's, yeah. So it'll be like
and we will.
1920.
Yes, and yes, we will end up doing a party and thoughts on the very last 2 episodes. When we get there, we are going to do a watch party. We're going to be cam. My webcam is supposed to be coming in either. Well, it's supposed to be here Thursday or the 7th to the 13th, so I have a couple more days before it gets here. But we are going to do a watch party on that. Just kind of for future.
I don't know if it'll be on Twitch though, or YouTube. If you had to make up your own rules to survive a horror movie, what would they be and why?
I very much like that question
What
because, yes, there are a lot of people who would,
some things
yes,
they've missed out.
missed out. There'd be a lot of people that would.
Common
There'd be a lot of
sense as
people that
well.
I honestly that would fail this question hard. And obviously there is no, yeah, there is
Don't
no right or
overthink it.
wrong answer. Basically,
It'd be just
your number one
interesting
thing
to
would be
see.
common sense. To be honest, just have common sense in a horror movie. That's yeah. Don't be
Don't be dick.
dicks. I love that. Yeah. Don't be dicks
Just don't be a dick. Don't
because
be a
let's
dick.
face it, 9 times out of 10, the very first person to die in a horror movie are dicks.
And they also get I don't think they get a good enough death for being a dick. They just get killed. You know, it's like over and done with quickly. They don't like get any suffering or
This
anything
is
like that.
true.
They just die.
So if you guys don't know, my favorite death scene of all time, I have talked about it, and there is a reason why. I'm not a big fan of Paris Hilton. Period. Point blank. Hate her to death.
Poor Paris though. Just poor Paris
So,
Hilton.
um, sorry, Paris. If you ever do listen to this, just not a big fan. You'll get over it. Um, so watching her die in House of Wax was just magnificoso. It was perfect. It made me feel happy to be alive at that point in time because I'm pretty sure around the time House of Wax came out, that was either before or after her sex tape. Yeah, her little
One night
sex
in
tape.
Paris. That was awful. It was a night vision. That was shit.
So,
And our
yeah,
eyes were glowing
yeah.
up like an alien. What
Skinwalker.
the fuck? No one wants to see
Skinwalker.
that. Oh, it was, wasn't it? Our
Yeah,
eyes were like
they were. And
flashlights, man. It was like the deadlights.
yeah, the deadlights. Yeah.
The deadlights. Paris
Yeah,
Hilton
they should
is
have just called. That's what they
Pennywise.
should have called that sex tape. The
Paris
deadlights
Hilton
of
is
Paris
Penny.
Hilton.
Or Paris Hilton is
I don't
the
think.
deadlights.
I don't
Paris
even think
Hilton is
Pennywise would touch
Pennywise.
that with a 10-foot pole. Oh,
He might kill it.
I don't think he'd want to be contaminated with all that.
Poor Paris Hilton. I don't think she's as bad as what she was like portrayed as. It's just again celebrities and shit. PR gone wrong.
Yes.
Oh, Nikki, I have no idea. I don't really pay much attention. I only know Paris Hilton because of that, and also her really terrible career as an
Right.
actress. And I say it that way because she was no actress. But I did like her in Repo,
I'm sorry.
Repo the Genetic Opera, because that was a piss take because, going on about her having plastic surgery and stuff. Obviously, they're ripping the piss out of like the world she's from as well.
True.
She had like a fake. She actually had to wear a fake nose and a fake chin and stuff with it, and that's what made me laugh. I was like, really? What's your
So the
fact?
fact that I have for this week's episode, it's actually a pretty interesting one. Because I didn't know it, and I thought the 1982 film of Poltergeist was pretty good. In the 1982 film of Poltergeist, real corpses were actually used in that movie.
Oh, cool.
That is creepy.
That wouldn't have
Yeah,
been
that
frowned
is.
upon though. Wouldn't have been frowned upon though at that
Well,
point.
I mean,
Been cancelled if
nowadays,
you did that.
absolutely. This was also the 80s, so who knows what kind of licensings or whatever they did to be able to get to use corpses. The corpses, families probably had to have been paid a lot of money, and not only that, they would definitely had to have been cleaned so they did not smell. But then again, they might have not cleaned them. That for the, I guess I would say, the smelling aspect of it. To be honest, walking into a room and just smelling a corpse that's rotting, that would definitely give a authentic look to actors and actresses' faces. But at the same time, I think that would just be a little above and beyond. But hey, that's just my opinion. But guys, that is everything for this episode of Confessions from the Dark Side. Let us know in the comments down below if you agreed or disagreed with anything that was discussed
Or if you
today.
missed one of the films. Yeah.
Any of the
Jesus.
rules that you guys found interesting between Randy and Dewey we did not discuss today on this episode. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you missed any sex scenes that had the characters get disemboweled, decapitated, killed, murdered off at any point in time.
All of the above.
Or all of the above, you are more than welcome to comment. Let us know. We can definitely discuss them and bring your guys' comments to light on our channel. Again, if you guys would like us to do a mental awareness episode, there are struggles that everybody does go through on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and yearly basis. Life. Yes. I struggle daily. I have a lot of stuff that I go through. Darcy has been there to discuss things with, and I appreciate you for that, Darcy. She is kind of a backbone for me because she is a friend that came out of the blue, out of nowhere, and I
just appeared by magic.
Well, she made herself light out of the darkness. So, see what I did there?
Oh yeah, I did. It was very sweet and very nice.
But if you guys would like us to do an episode, you guys are more than welcome to comment. Comment about your struggles. Comment about things that you would like us to discuss. Ask us questions about how things that we may deal with. Granted, we may not have the answers. We may not have the greatest advice either.
But we can maybe give you some advice on who to reach out to where you live as
Yes,
well.
and if you guys
Maybe get in touch with people.
if you guys do want to reach out to us personally just to have a conversation, comment, let us know. We will reach out to you first, then we can have a discussion from there. But again, for the episode, please comment, like, subscribe, do what you can. We greatly appreciate it and hope you guys enjoy. That is all for Confessions of the Dark Side. Have a good one.
We'll see you in the next
Later.
one. Later.